Welcome back. Whether you see those colorful carts at the corner of a busy intersection or catering an office party, one thing's for sure, you'll also see smiling people with purple, red, and yellow tinged lips. That's because they're likely indulging on one of the nearly 90 unique flavors concocted by the company known as King of Pops. But this all-natural frozen treat didn't just pop up overnight. It was born out of crisis. Today, Ed Baker talks with its founder, Stephen Carse, about taking life's bitter surprises and turning them into sweet success. It's all in our Executive Profiles with Ed Baker.
Well, welcome, Steve. I have full confession here, okay? I grew up in Atlanta, and I never knew that the king came from Snellville.
One of the kings. We call ourselves all kings at King of Pops.
We're all kings, okay? Everyone's a king in the process.
Sure.
So let's go back to your youth. Let's begin with the budding entrepreneur as a child, because obviously, you know, this didn't just start with the King of Pops in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I was the youngest of three, so my two older brothers they kind of had a poolside business. I think a lot of people have them where you buy stuff at Sam's Club and resell it at the pool. And I had a problem. I would sit there with them and put in my hours, but I was just paid through the candy and whatever else extra stuff there was. So that's kind of where it all began. It was kind of in my blood from the beginning, and both my parents kind of encouraged it.
So you and your brother go off to the University of Georgia, hanging out.
Hanging out, a lot of hanging out, yeah.
So you graduate.
I graduate.
Good thing.
Yeah, it was great.
Hope Scholarship?
Yep.
Good deal. Kept
Yeah.
your hope?
Yeah, the whole time. I was a journalism major, and I moved out to Idaho after, and I worked at a newspaper for a year. And my oldest brother, Nick, he had been working at AIG at the time and kind of took me under his wing and said he could get me a job back there. So
you conform to society, you come back to Atlanta,
yeah,
and then you got laid off, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there for about 3 years. I really liked it. It was a good job. I felt like I was learning a lot of just businessy type things, which were good. I did well there, and I kind of got a couple promotions, but then the bottom fell out with the financial crisis.
Tough times lead you to an airplane ride that changed your life, huh?
Yeah, throughout the whole time, kind of the layoff, the last year, things were bad, and I'd been taking trips. I'd been taking trips through college, really. My oldest brother is about 8 or 9 years older than me, so he was an anthropology student, and he was studying in Latin America, both Ecuador and Panama. And we would go on vacations to visit him, and then he'd either skip around with us for a couple weeks or we'd stay there. And the paleta, which is the Spanish word for popsicle, was like the enduring theme through all of our Latin America travels. And after like 3 or 4 years of talking about and beachside chats and late night chats, and it just kept coming up, and it was like a foregone conclusion by the time I lost my job that this is what I wanted to at least try.
So talk about the start of the business. You come back with an incredible product.
It's kind of scary, but not scary. It was a very small investment. I was used to kind of living without much money, so I had bought a place a couple years before. I rented that out, and I stayed on my brother's couch while I started it, and we hooked up our first machine in his laundry room for testing. Eventually I got some people that kind of believed in me. We had painted this mural in February. It was freezing cold in North Avenue in North Highland, right in the Ponce Highlands. I had nothing else to do because I was laid off, so me and my friend had painted this mural. It says King of Pops, and when we were painting it, we must have gotten 500, 1,000 people that walked up asking us what we were doing. A lot of those people came back when we started in April 1st. So yeah, I had one cart. I pushed it in for, I mean, it's kind of like the walking both ways uphill in the snow story, but I did push my cart in for about the first 2 months before I could afford a truck, about 3/4 of a mile. I would pass construction sites and sell to some of those guys, and they'd be like, I had some Latin flavors at the time, and they were like, why do you have, this sounds disgusting. So I was like, all right guys, what do you want? The next day I'd come back with their exact requests, and it took off pretty quick. I mean, I was definitely very, very lucky in that sense. The community got behind me.
So one cart becomes 20 carts, and 20 carts becomes?
I've lost count, but probably around 40. We have 20 in Atlanta, and then we're in Charleston, Richmond, Athens, and Charlotte.
Walk through and tell us about your product line. From the beginning to this crazy evolution.
Sure.
in a respectful way of,
Yeah,
of
no.
where you are now.
Definitely crazy. Always improving. We want to have a straightforward, healthful, wholesome dessert. So we do use sweeteners, but when we use sweeteners, we try to use as small amount as possible, and we try to use unprocessed things like honey, agave nectar, and sugar, cane sugar, organic cane sugar. And then we want it to be kind of straightforward. Instead of being like rainbow pop, ours are basically strawberry lemonade. We want the guy to know that's what they get, strawberry and lemonade. There's less than 5 ingredients in the vast majority of our products.
What's your favorite product? What's the best seller?
Chocolate sea salt is by far the best seller, and my favorite's banana pudding or tangerine basil.
Where do you grow from here? Has this become national? Is this e-commerce?
Yeah.
In today's world, with your creativity and the mother of invention,
Yeah.
where do you go with this?
I think the sky's the limit, but at the same time, we've turned down a lot of opportunities for quick growth. People want a franchise, and they'll write an email saying, what do I got to do to get this in Birmingham or somewhere in Florida or something like that. We're not interested in going that route. We want to do it kind of the right way. So we are in all these cities now. Atlanta is by far our home. We do the vast majority of our business here. And so we want to figure out how to replicate those in the other cities. And then the carts and the catering, that's kind of our bread and butter that we have learned a lot about. And we have a lot of fun hustling around and spending 12-hour days out in 110-degree humid Atlanta weather. That's our thing.
We know that.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to
Yeah.
you. Thank you for a great product.
Thank you.
And hail to the king.
I appreciate it. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Well, staying true to its organic roots, King of Pops recently bought a 68-acre farm near Douglasville. The company plans to use the land and grow fresh ingredients, Christmas trees, and they'll host farm-to-table events.